Okay, 10.2, we are solving radical equations today. What we're going to end up doing is we're going to square both sides of the equation. So if like a is equal to b, then a squared is also equal to b squared. We're not changing the equation at all, we're just doubling it. So if I'm telling you that the square root of x is equal to 3, then the square root of x squared is equal to 3 squared. That kind of gives you an idea of what we're heading through today. So in your note packet, look at the 10.2 notes. Remember, you can either write this or you can have it downloaded, be doing it on the computer, or you could have it printed out on your paper. And here we go. So a radical equation is any equation that contains a variable under the radical sign. We solve radical equations by squaring both sides. The goal is to set the variable alone or get rid of the radical sign. Sometimes there's radicals in the equations, and what we need to do is just get x alone. We've been doing that for a long time. So I need to square both sides. When I square a square root, it cancels. Leaves me with just x. Ends up 3 squared is 9. So I'm going to do the same thing on each of these. So I'm going to square and square. Ends up x equals 49. Okay? And if I square and I square, x equals 100. And finally, square and square, x equals 144. Fairly simple. So now, sometimes there are equations underneath the radical. You're going to solve them the same way. We're going to square both sides first, then we're going to solve for x. We want to get rid of that square root. So again, I'm just going to solve or square that. So I get x plus 1 is equal to 9. And then I solve for x, and I just subtract my 1 over, and I get x equals 8. Now remember, at any time, if I'm going too fast for you, you can always just pause the video and come back to it. Okay, so I'm going to square both sides here. I'm going to end up with 2x minus 4 is equal to 9. Now I'm going to just solve for x. I'm going to add my 4 over. I'm going to get 2x equals, that would be 13, divided by 2, and x is going to equal 6.5. Okay, moving to number 7, we just need to square both sides here. I get 2x minus 1 is now equal to 25. I'm going to add 1 over. And you're going to see that sometimes these are going to work out nice and sometimes they're not. But I get 26. Divide both sides by 2, and you get 13. Okay? At any point, if you're unsure of this, we can always just plug our equation back in. I could plug that back in, and I would get 9. So 8 plus 1 is 9, and so 9, the square root of 9, is equal to 3. Okay, now I know a long time ago we talked about positive and negative square roots, but we're not doing that at this point. So we'll just keep moving and keep doing what we're doing. So sometimes there are multiple steps in requiring to isolate the radical before the square root. So what you want to do is you want to get the square root by itself. So I'm going to add my 5 over. Okay, now I have isolated my radical. Equals 10. So I square both sides. That ends up with 2x minus 1. My square root goes away, equals 100. I would add 1, and I get 2x equals 101, which divide by 2, x would equal 50.5. Okay? All right, I have 2 steps I need to do on number 9. I'm going to add my 15 over. I'm going to get 3 square root of x plus 1 is now equal to, that would be a 9. I'm going to now divide both sides by 3. So I do everything I possibly can until I get that square root by itself, which is x plus 1 equals 3. I'm going to square both sides. So I have x plus 1 now equals 9. And if I subtract 1, I get x equals 8. Okay. All right, moving on to number 10. I need to move my 2 over first. So I remember I always do the opposite of what I want to do. I have the square root of 4x minus 19 is now equal to 7. I square both sides, so I have 4x minus 19 is now equal to 49. These are much nicer when they work out. If I add 19 in there, that cancels. 49 plus 19 gives me a 68. So I now have a 4x equals a 68. If I divide by 4, that gives me my all-time favorite number, which is 17. And finally, for number 11, we need to do everything we can first. So I'm going to add the 10 first. That's going to give me 4 times the square root of x plus 5 equals 8. I'm going to divide everything by 4. So I have the square root of x plus 5 now equals 2. I square both sides. I get x plus 5 equals 4. If I subtract my 5 over, I get x equals a negative 1. Now, remember when we talked about there, it couldn't be a negative 1 or a negative number under a square root. Well, if you actually plug this in, it ends up being 4. Okay, so a negative 1 plus 5 is 4. The square root of 4 is 2. 4 times 2 is going to give me 8. 8 minus 10 is negative 2. So again, you can always go back and check. Sometimes radicals are on both sides of the equation. So in this case, we're just going to square both sides. Then we get all the x's to one side, and we solve. So I'm going to square both sides. And then they go away. Yay! I just have a multi-step equation, which you've been doing forever. You know how to do this. This is basic algebra. I move my x's to the left, so I subtract my 2x here. Okay, that gives me just x, and then I'm going to add my 3 equals 11. Again, could plug it back in to make sure that it works. 22 plus 8 gives me 30. 33 minus 3 gives me 30. The square root of 30 is equal to the square root of 30, even though it's not nice. Square both sides over on number 13. I get 5x minus 4 is equal to 3x plus 20. I like these because they're easy to solve. Subtract my 3x over. I get 2x minus 4 equals 20. I'm going to add my 4. 2x equals 24. And x equals 12. Easy enough. Okay, so on number 14, what we want to do is we want to get 2 square roots on opposite sides. So I'm going to actually move this over to the other side of the equal sign. So I'm going to end up with the square root of 4x minus 3 is now equal to the square root of x. When I move it over, I add it to both sides, so I don't have to worry about my sign. When I square both sides, those radicals cancel. So I have 4x minus 3 is now equal to x. I do have to move my 4x over, otherwise it leaves nothing on this side. I've got a negative 3 is equal to a negative 3x. Divide by negative 3, x equals just 1. That would be 4 minus 3, which is 1, minus, or the square root of 1, which is 1, minus the square root of 1, which is 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. All right, so this one doesn't have a square root on both sides, so I do still need to square both sides. Ooh, this one's going to be tricky. I'm going to end up with 20 minus x equals x squared. Oh no, can't combine them. Well, I'm going to move them all over to one side of the equal sign. So 0 equals x squared plus x minus 20. Yes, now I have to factor. Okay, I'm going to put them in 2 sets of parentheses. Remember this, we're going all the way back to chapter 7 and 8. Okay, negative 20, so that means I have 1 positive and 1 negative. We need to get it to a positive 1. That means I go positive 5 and a negative 4. When I solve that, my answers, remember, are going to be the opposite of what's inside there. So a negative 5 and a positive 4. Don't forget that that stuff is going to come back, and it's going to be stuff that we talk about. Okay, 2 more to go. Just like what we did last, we're going to square both sides. I'm going to end up with 3x plus 4 equals x squared. I want to move all of them over to one side of the equal sign. So I'm going to have 0 equals x squared minus 3x minus 4. Now you're going to notice I'm moving them all to the right because I don't want that x squared to be negative. So if I move everything over this way, that front number just stays positive. That's what we want. Okay, so we've got 0 equals. We're going to do 2 sets of parentheses. I've got my x and my x. Remember my negative 4, which means I have a positive and a negative. Since it's a negative 3, I want a negative 4 and a positive 1, which means my answers are going to be a positive 4 and a negative 1. Now, with these, and I didn't talk about this on the last one, but what we need to do is we actually need to plug them back in. Okay, so if I go back and I plug in negative 5 and a positive 4 to number 15. If I plug in 4, since it's positive, I'm going to start with that. So 20 minus 4 is 16. The square root of 16 is 4. That one actually works. When I plug in a negative 5, I get 20 minus a negative 5, which is a positive 25, and the square root of that could be a positive or a negative 5. Now remember, we said that it could be positive or negative if it's underneath there. Okay, so technically that one does work. Okay, if I do the next, we're going to plug in my 4. So 3 times 4 is 12. 12 plus 4 is 16. The square root of 16 is, in fact, 4. Negative 1. What I plug in is a negative 1, and I get, that would be a negative 3 plus 4, so that would be 1. Square root of 1 is 1, but it could be a positive or a negative. Okay, so if I go back and I'm going to square both of these, 6 minus x equals x squared. So I get 0 equals x squared. That would be plus x minus 6. I need it to be to 1, so let's do x plus 3 because it needs to be a positive 1, and x minus 2, which would mean that my answers are a positive 2 and a negative 3. If I plug in 2, 6 minus 4, 2 is 4, square root of 4 is in fact 2. If I plug in a negative 3, I get, that would be 9, and it is in fact a negative 9. Now let's talk about an extraneous solution, okay, which is a solution that, such that, to an equation that emerges, is solved, from the process of solving the problem, but is not a valid solution. So an extraneous solution is one where you plug it in and it actually doesn't work. Okay, so we've gone back and we've plugged all those back in, and they do technically work, even though they're negative. What we're going to talk about tomorrow is what happens when they don't work. Okay, and we're going to go through some more division problems and solve things out. Let us know if you have questions.